My name's Tom Harned, and my wife and I built a home in the Wood River Valley here in Haley with a lot of green philosophies and green technologies. How I understand the carbon footprint is all the petrochemicals in general that are used to transport food and items that we consume in our daily lives. And so what I do to reduce my carbon footprint is simple things like riding the bike when I can, carpooling with my kids to school. We grow our own food, our garden, so a lot of the vegetables that we consume come from our backyard. Some of the other things I do is I buy some local produce at the farmers markets that I see in town. Some of the other markets have some locally produced items that I can buy. There are meat suppliers. There's some milk that comes out of Buell that's pretty good stuff, and some eggs. And so most of the things we consume during our days are produced easily within 100 miles, if not even closer than that. Part of the LEED process is really considering what you do with your water usage out in your landscape. The term that a lot of folks will use is xeriscape, and what you're trying to do there is plant as native as possible with low water usage plants. Plants are developed in this region to live on very, very little water in the summertime. So we've incorporated a lot of that into our landscape here. If you're going to put water on the ground, why don't you go ahead and put it on something that you can eat? More than just providing food for your family, you provide family time. You like it? One of the neatest things that we've found with our garden is the time that our children get in there. I'll watch my son walk through the garden, and he's hand to mouth with so many of the foods. The beans that come off the plants and the lettuce and the basil, he just pops right in his mouth and chews away, and it's a great way to get vegetables into his body. Back here we have some, you can see a yellow squash back there. Looks like it's actually ready to go. We have some zucchinis behind me. We've got lots of tomatillos planted in this section. A little bit small this time of year. It's a hard growing season. We have some carrots planted in between the tomatillos over there. Got some broccoli, some more carrots and beets, some lettuce, some chard. We have some sugar snap peas and snow peas. Now back behind you, you have some bush beans. Got some more broccoli, some cabbage, and tomatoes, and some potatoes. Solar energy is one of the great ways to have a smaller carbon footprint and to also save yourself some money. You can see here on the left, we got power from the sun, electricity. And here on the right, we have panels that we get hot water from the sun, things that we all use every day of our lives. When we're not using the power that's created, Idaho Power has set up with us, but we're contracted with them to sell that back to them. So that helps to pay off the cost of the panels. But about 100% of our hot water needs will come from the sun. When you're talking about paying for gas to heat your water, that can really save a big chunk of money. We have a constructed wetlands. What it is a pool filled with gravel, if you would. And what that does is it captures the sewage before it hits the groundwater. This is the constructed wetlands, which is pre-treatment before the water goes into the ground. Most folks' systems, most septic systems, the way they work is there's holding tanks and then it's pumped directly into the drain field. This wetlands is in line between those tanks and the drain field, and what it does is all these plants and the microbes that live within the system here biodegrade the effluent before it hits the drain field. So it's even cleaner when it goes into the ground than, well, it's a lot cleaner than most people's systems. And as you can tell, there's no smell. So it's not like you have a sewage plant in your backyard. You don't notice it at all. It's a wetlands. All these plants are wetland plants, or sedges and rushes. We have some of the irises that come up. So it's a real different landscape to put into your yard, because most folks don't have wetlands in their yards. Most folks will have mosquitoes if they do. There's no mosquitoes associated with this because it's all gravel based. There is no water on the surface. But the plant roots can get down into the water, and so you can have a different type of plants living in your yard. If you're going to be building a home, make sure you plan to have the sun warm your house. It's called passive solar design. People have been doing it for thousands of years. The sunlight comes in. If you have a lot of thermal mass inside, it'll grab a hold of that heat, hold on to it, and release it nice and slow during the evening hours. In the summertime, you want to make sure you have some shade, because you don't want that sun in. Keep the sun out. In the wintertime, you want to make sure you have plenty of southern glass, so you have a lot of that sunlight coming into your home. If people start thinking differently, those thoughts tend to lead to actions, and those actions are what's really going to change our community and our lifestyles. The green building has really opened my eyes to a larger picture, and that is it's pretty fascinating when I talk with people to find out how many other people are wondering how to go about doing it. And like I said, it's just taking the baby steps. And always keeping it in the back of your mind. When you turn something on, recognize what it's doing. It's using power from somewhere, and just try and change our habits just a little bit at a time, and it can make a big difference in the big picture.